Welcome to the Virtual Foundry Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Virtual Foundry Podcast. This is Volume 3, Episode 9. Today is Tuesday, August 2nd, 2022. The time is 2:35 p.m. and the temperature is actually a lovely 85 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 29 degrees for you Celsius users here in southern Wisconsin. I know last time I said that 75 was hot, and today I'm saying that 85 is nice. Who knows? Weather's crazy every day. It's up and down. Today, we're going to be talking with our partner, MatterHackers. My name is Tricia Cease. I'm the president of the Virtual Foundry. And with me today is David Gaylord, vice president of MatterHackers. Say hello, Dave.
Hey, how you doing? We're reporting the weather, so I'll say It's also 85 here in Southern California. Probably a drier 85, maybe, because we're in the desert. But yeah, same temperature. Thanks for having me.
85 in the desert is very nice. 85 in humidity can be quite stifling.
Yeah, 85 is a little hot for us this time of year, but we have a luxury tax here in Southern California, but it pays off in the form of very consistent temperatures.
Dave, thank you for joining me today and giving us a chance to get to know you, to get to know MatterHackers a little more closely. The Virtual Foundry products are on the MatterHackers website now, but we want to hear a little bit more about you. Tell us, how did you get into 3D printing?
I'll start by saying, yes, we're very grateful to have partnered with Virtual Foundry and offering your products. I think they've been a long time coming, something that customers have been asking for many years, and we're excited to be pressing forward with this partnership. To answer your specific question, so I went to school for mechanical engineering at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. So I did mechanical engineering there. I did a master's degree in biomedical engineering while I was a manufacturing and R&D engineer for medical devices, making cataract lenses. So I've used printers almost for the better part of 2 decades, honestly. I use them very regularly as an engineer, obviously, as a professional engineer. And then my first experience with the 3D printer was actually in college. So I had a senior project. We needed to make something. It needed to be out of plastic. I didn't feel like firing up a mill. So I asked around and saw if we could use the, very expensive, gigantic, you needed training and essentially a license to use the 3D printers, but I was able to access them and then actually worked in the lab, and that was quite an experience. I've been absolutely addicted since day one. So that was probably in 2003. So yeah, 19 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then really got into more desktop 3D printing, I'd say in 2011, 2012. I found out that actually I had a friend, one of the partners here at MatterHackers, who I moved to Europe for a year, and he said he bought a 3D printer, and I kind of responded like, hey, how did you come upon hundreds of thousands of dollars? And it turns out, no, he had just bought a kit and made it himself. So I thought that was fascinating. That was my introduction into sort of open source desktop 3D printing. 2011, 2012, that type of time frame.
Tell me about your experiences with metal 3D printing and what you've seen going on there.
Yeah, obviously metal 3D printing's been around for a long time in many various ways and shapes and forms. I personally probably held my first metal 3D print at a Rapid trade show in maybe even pre-Rapid, probably in 2015, something like that. It was definitely from a very expensive powder bed fusion type of machine or something like that. It was probably 4 years ago. We partnered with BASF, so they've got a great material that I've used. That's most of the metal 3D printing that I've done has been that, which means you have to send it out for debinding and sintering. Quite a you create as an engineer your little baby, then you send it off to camp, you cross your fingers that it comes back not a pile of rubble. But yeah, I've done a lot of 3D printing with that material. And then, most recently the Virtual Foundry stuff, which I'm just amazed at how easy it is and how one could do it in their lab or even in their garage. That kind of space is really, I think, a barrier to entry that people have been asking for a long time.
It really is pretty incredible to be able to make metal things just at home or in your classroom or in your lab. We've really come a long way with that, and it's exciting to see where the industry will be going in the future. Now, tell us about MatterHackers in general. What services does MatterHackers offer?
Yeah, so MatterHackers, it's kind of a long story. I'll say the most abbreviated version that I can, but services, we're really just at this point mostly an e-commerce platform. We are very focused on the US market. We have, to start back in the beginning, two of the founders are actually software guys. So they started making Matter Control, a slicing engine, and 3D printing controller software. Turns out that doesn't, free software doesn't keep the lights on. So we started selling maybe a spool of filament here, a spool of filament there. We got really lucky in that 1 week MakerBot was just like out of filament altogether. So we sold the one pallet that we had back in the corner really quickly. So able to buy another one and another one. So that sort of like steamrolled into our materials e-commerce platform that had begun. Fast forward another year, we picked up a couple hardware options, starting with like Airwolves and MakerBots and See Me CNCs, like those early almost kits. We had a lot of sort of momentum around some of the early kits that we were able to serve as customers that had MatterHackers growing again. And then we sort of, just barrel on for, you close your eyes and it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really just, we see ourselves as a solutions company rather than hardware or materials or anything. So many people that either have 3D printers and want to do more, or have a specific design or something that they want to make in mind. I think it's really important to have the portfolio, the offerings, and the solutions focused to say like, yeah, we got your back. We can recommend the exact material, the exact hardware, the exact design software that you need to succeed at your specific application. And myself as a mechanical engineer, gears turning, functional prints and all those things. I just love functional things, and I love people succeeding at their goals, iterating often, and the ability to have even a 3D printer behind you as you're designing something. You can now do 4 or 5 iterations per day versus waiting for a machine shop or getting set up at an injection molder, maybe overseas, something like that. The lead times are so I really love that MatterHackers is a place to go to expand everybody's knowledge base, everybody's ability to succeed at whatever application they're thinking for 3D printing.
MatterHackers clearly does a great job of really getting to know the products that it sells and providing support for people. And what you're talking about is taking that even a step further with adding that expertise to stand behind the products that you're selling.
Yeah, early on, we MatterHackers has been lucky through a lot of diligence and hard work and timing, in that we found, we have succeeded at gaining a lot of web traffic early on, really just by like taking guides and like saying, hey, here's what we think the best way to print PLA is, or ABS, or nylon, or metal filament, whatever it might be. So we really do try to just like disseminate our expertise as much as possible. And that has allowed this, the momentum of MatterHackers as a go-to source within the 3D printing space to succeed. But it's really just a bunch of nerds trying to spread knowledge around. At least back in the early days, it was like a lot of that knowledge was on the internet, sort of under deep, dark forums of specific manufacturers or specific cosplay subsections of the internet. But we had a platform to be able to surface all of that.
Now, how can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, MatterHackers.com is the easiest place to find us, to shop, to learn, and to see case studies. Myself, if you want to find me and message me or something like that, Twitter, I think it's D Gaylord 3D is my Twitterverse handle. But yeah, we find ourselves to be, having a huge advantage being very accessible in general.
I will agree. In my interactions with you as a business partner, MatterHackers has been very responsive and very easy to work with, and that's always appreciated. We like to do business with people we like.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Good to hear.
Now, you talked earlier about doing business in the U.S. Do you do any international business?
Not specifically. I think a lot of people are surprised since we have so much spillover marketing and guides and solutions, things like that. But yeah, we're really focused on the US market. We have a warehouse here and a headquarters in Southern California, as well as another warehouse on the East Coast. But yeah, we customers can purchase through MatterHackers, and many people do using freight forwarders, stuff like that, but generally very domestically focused.
Now, Dave, what has been your favorite project to work on or to be a part of?
Ooh, good question. I always, there's so many different projects that my mind go to when that question is answered. But I remember my first job out of college was at a small industrial design firm, and I had a very expensive 3D printer right next to my desk, and I got into this rhythm of like, oh wow, I can do 3 iterations as an engineer per day, and this is like a very huge and useful tool. We were doing projects with big companies, at the time, like BlackBerry, Nike, things like that, and I found a lot of satisfaction in them. I spent much of my next 5 years finding even products that I was working on in like Sky Mall and stuff, and that was fun. But what I found is I really like helping people. So I my next opportunity for, engineering and jobs, things like that, was in medical devices. So I made cataract lenses and the tools, insertion tools, and the equipment that goes along with that. And that, I'm using the same skill base, but it's not things that are ending up at Sky Mall. It's people, going into surgery blind and coming out, they can see, cataract surgery to me is like a really using all my skill sets, but for good, for helping people, like generally helping people. So obviously there's many projects that I have used to succeed at sort of big corporation pharmaceutical companies and medical device companies. But one of my favorites remains Mara from MatterHackers. One of her friends just has Dupuytren's contracture, which means the tendons in her hands tighten quite a bit. And we did an entire design contest, and that sparked from this idea. But at the end of the day, it's very simple things for her friend Brandy were difficult to do. Putting your credit card in the slot at the gas station, holding on to like a Starbucks coffee mug. And so I just was like, yeah, man, I'm going to help you. So I designed 3 or 4 things that just sort of changed her life. And I think the reason I'm so excited that turned into a design competition and actually flourished into these greater projects is, yeah, we have these tools, we have these 3D printers. Many people who are 3D printing have design chops, whether it's in Tinkercad or SketchUp or SolidWorks or AutoCAD or something like that, to be helpful. The Enable project is another one that I just love participating in. That's we've literally had kids come to our headquarters, get measured, and walk away with a hand. And so improving people's lives has always been a passion of mine. And I don't think I, as a person, would have gotten there without the sort of path to the path of like being an engineer making like products that end up on Sky Mall, and realizing that there was like this gap in my heart as an engineer for helping people. So any project that's helping people, helping blind people, helping anybody whose life is improved because of someone spent some time to make somebody's life better. I just love that.
Those are really cool projects. Thank you for doing that work. That's It's really important. It sounds like you're really helping a lot of people with that.
Yeah, we're trying. I mean, and those are just, my hope is that it can sort of catalyze other people's ideas who think that maybe they're, you know, an expertise away from being able to do that. Like even a like quick and dirty, in your perception, attempt at helping to solve someone's problem is a grand and great solution to the person whose problem is being solved.
That's true. Dave, do you have anything else to add to our conversation today?
No, like I said, I'm just excited that MatterHackers is partnered with Virtual Foundry. I'm excited to be on your podcast and have everybody learn more about MatterHackers and myself. I just keep thinking within 3D printing industry as a whole, we have so much work to do to get to enable the next person. I often go, speak at schools, whether it's, third grade or a junior high or even an engineering department at a college. And I find myself just saying like, wow, if I could get a 3D printer in the hands of a, 10-year-old me, the things that I would have thought of at the time are just fantastic. So the more that 3D printers become regular parts of conversation and tools that have been used to solve some problem, again, whether it's someone in a big industry or someone, some dad designing some toys for his kids or fixing some toys for their kids, like it just becomes part of this regular conversation. I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and it's so exciting to be able to show them that we have this fascinating piece of equipment in the house to be able to utilize.
One thing that I do really love about this work is being in such a creative industry. Mm-hmm. It always amazes me what people work on, what they come up with, the ideas that they have, and then being able to bring those to life.
Yeah, and I even find myself sort of on my own personal projects where I do, quite a bit of 3D printing. I'm very like making brackets or doing these like very functional pieces, but there's whole other sides of people utilizing 3D printers in cosplay, which the things happening in those spaces, automotive, those are all like, every nook and cranny of advocates within this industry are very creative, always willing to just kind of put their head down and drive towards success, which is great. It's inspiring, and I love all of the stories that I've heard as case studies. So.
Well, Dave, I do have one more very important question for you before we wrap up today.
Fire away.
Who designed Sir Arthur's table?
Sir Arthur's table. Let's just say Sir Arthur did.
Nope, it was Circumference.
Oh my goodness. Yep. All right. Must have been a circle table.
Thank you very much for joining me on the Virtual Foundry podcast. Hey, if you've got a cool project you want to talk about in this format, we'd love to interview you. If you have a topic you'd like us to do a deep dive on, we'd love to talk about that with or for you. Reach out to us at info@thevirtualfoundry.com. And until next time, happy printing.
Thanks for having me.